today we're talking about, well, Star Wars. And, well, how, well, let's just see how it turned out. So, I guess, bad. I don't know, man. Star Wars is in a dark place. But we're going to take a look at why and some of the characters and some of the things that were done to, well, bring down one of the largest, if not the most iconic franchises in movie history. But anyway, strap yourselves in. You found one of the most controversial podcasts of all time. But still the number one podcast in the entire multiverse, Dark Skies News and Information, as we do a movie review. I said I was going to do this, but, well, here we are. Star Wars movie review. So strap yourselves in, light them if you get them. All the usual suspects are here. Mike, Jennifer, Jim, Jeff, Becky, and of course, your host, me, People's Champ, LC Grace. So we'll get a second to get yourselves comfortable, and we'll be back in a few seconds. Oh man, we got this one going. But this podcast here is basically for, the YouTube channel. We do videos on the YouTube channel and we try to put out stuff so people will know that, yeah, we still care about our YouTube family. So what we're doing here is we're going to talk about Star Wars, and we did a movie review. We looked at the movies yet again, and we sat through the pain and the agony. And some of the actual, Star Wars fans were just put back. Now, it's funny because when you think about some of the things that, Star Wars hoped to accomplish with this new trilogy, basically to carry it forward, introduce new heroes and give new stories and a new segment to what has already been a classic and iconic era of cinematic genius from the Lucas family and everybody that, has been involved with Star Wars from the first three movies to the prequels to, I guess now. Well, anyway, Lucasfilm has put out an actual masterpiece as the first three movies I saw as a kid and was blown away by, the special effects of that time as well as the things that were going on as far as the storytelling, the world building, the character growth, and just to see, Luke's journey, of a hero as he traveled through space to try to, hone his skills and become a better Jedi so he could go confront his father, who at the time was Darth Vader, and basically the bad guy that was, the most baddest of bad guys, right? I mean, Darth Vader is the big bad that all other movies are trying to imitate when they come in with somebody who's just so evil and so dark that, an entire galaxy is afraid of him. And often, this character is recreated in many different films as far as, of course, not its name, but just to try to get the feeling that Darth Vader had over, an entire franchise. As Luke Skywalker, our hero, seemed to be outmatched and seemed to be overwhelmed when you look at the Empire and all of its, weaponry and unlimited supplies. And it's just makes you wonder, how did they even, come up with just the absolute balls necessary to, even go against, a planet killer like the Death Star in 1 and 2. And it's incredible when you think about the struggle for the the resistance and how you were root on the resistance to, to thwart the plans of the Empire, because the Empire was just so massive and so big and had the support of the Republic. And I know what y'all thinking is like, it was so much going on in the first three movies that, you could just get behind your characters, your heroes, from Han Solo, Chewbacca, even Princess Leia, and watching Alderaan be destroyed. Even though the destruction of Alderaan was a message to the rebellion. But at the same time, come on, the destruction of a planet. So when you think of all of these different things that were placed on the table as far as like stakes, then you start to understand, it's Star Wars. But then, let's fast forward into the future and we look at the movies that were made most recently. And Mikey was telling me it must be a Mandela effect. That the movies were so bad and the stories told nothing or had nothing to add to the overall saga of the Star Wars experience. Now, Star Wars is basically on a level of its own. I mean, it could be compared to no other franchise because the way it's taken the world by storm and imprinted its memory onto the imaginations of kids who are adults now and much older and willing to share that experience with their children that they have today. Now you look at, all this gold that, that the Star Wars franchise, which is owned by Disney now, and was ready to head into a whole new different direction with new stars, new stories, and new possibilities galore. As The Force Awakens came and, we all got our Star Wars gear, our Star Wars laser weaponry, our lightsabers, our masks and our different costumes and all the lore that comes with being a fan of Star Wars. Well, we all got together. We went to go see The Force Awakens. Now, we didn't know that it was a setup. Nobody knew. Now that Star Wars had been handed over to a group of people that, didn't really care about the franchise, wasn't hoping to expand the story, wasn't hoping to, pander to the fans. I mean, because a lot of, movies, know the fan base and they cater to the fan base and they call it fan service. And Star Wars definitely got out of that, as The Force Awakens showed us, well, a whole new message. A message that said that everything is old must go. Everything is new is cooler. Forget your memories and the things that made you love, well, Star Wars, because all of that is over now. And here's new stars and new heroes to love. And, here's, well, the old story, but repackaged. Because if you watch The Force Awakens and you watch, well, the Star Wars trilogy in the past, The New Hope, then you would know that A New Hope and Force Awakens were pretty much the same movie. Matter of fact, if you look at the trilogy, the second trilogy, and I'm not talking about the prequels, I'm not talking about the first one, the prequels wasn't horrible. Could have been better, but, it still looked great compared to the last three. And the last three, it was just, J.J. Abrams. I mean, it's just, I don't understand what vision that they were hoping to display or were inspired by. Because I looked at Force Awakens and I looked at, first, our hero, Rey Palpatine. Rey Palpatine was told that, she was nothing. Her parents was nothing, and that she really didn't have no part to play in anything, even though she found herself in the middle of all of these different events, as in the finding of BB-8, who was left by Poe just hours earlier before being captured by the First Order. Not the Empire, but the First Order, yeah, captured Poe, and, and Poe was able to, I guess, tell his droid to get out of here. I don't know. But anyway, the droid escaped, and was found by Rey. But the droid also, in his little compartment, housed a map that led to Luke Skywalker. And I know what y'all thinking, like, wait a minute. A map to Luke Skywalker? I mean, the fuck? I mean, Luke was like the hero. He was right there at the end of the last trilogy. And a lot of people came into this movie thinking that this movie would pick up, something from the last trilogy, considering it was calling itself Star Wars and a new trilogy hitting, and it would tell us what happened to our stars and our heroes from the past story and the reason that we're here. I mean, Luke Skywalker. It's the reason that we came to see Star Wars, The Force Awakens, but we didn't get to see him. Matter of fact, we were told that he was missing and that Leia didn't know where he was, and it was like, wait, Leia? I don't understand. Leia knew they were together all at the end. Well, anyway, so we tried to make sense of it, like that. Okay, Luke was missing, but why? Why was Luke missing? Is it a reason? I mean, did Luke do something heinous, or was something heinous done to Luke? Oh my God, no. But anyway, we really didn't get the answer. It's just that, Luke lost control of a wayward apprentice and, lost his Jedi school. He was teaching people. Anyway, this is what we was led to believe was the reason that, Luke wasn't in this movie. That, he was missing. And that we had to use this map, which wasn't actually a map. It was a piece of a map that needed to be put with another map in order to make an actual map that would lead us to, Luke's whereabouts. And this was what the whole adventure of the first movie was about, and The Force Awakens was just so oddly put together. It just makes you wonder, our hero, Rey, I mean, who the hell is she, and why is she here, and what is her motivations for, helping, the story, or being a part of the story at all. And then, you have the Stormtrooper, and the Stormtrooper, I mean, the black Stormtrooper, I mean, I guess is cool. We see a Stormtrooper, and he's moving around, and he's acting, and it's the Force Awakening, meaning that, a Stormtrooper could wake up with the Force abilities. What allowed him to awaken and be different than the other Stormtroopers? Weren't they all constructed? I mean, that's what the story was telling us, that they were taken from their families and forced to be a part of this Star Wars First Order military, machine. So any child in that, they were taking children, right, from, I guess, around the galaxy, from families, in order to, man these First Order troops, these armies, these brigades. I don't know. No one stopped them. I don't understand. How did the First Order actually come to power? I mean, because in the prequels and the other stories, I mean, we had a pretty good idea of where the Empire came from and how the Empire has their power, and Palpatine with his strategic maneuvering and his plans and his, villainy. But at the same time, what happened with the First Order? How did the First Order get their power? I mean, where did they come from? I mean, it was never really established. And then, as you carry the story forward, I mean, Rey kind of was connected to Luke or something, right? She touched the lightsaber and turned out that she had a vision. And, okay, is she a Skywalker? No, she's a Kenobi. She's a Palpatine. She fights like the Palpatine. I mean, I remember seeing an awesome video on YouTube where they broke down Rey's, fighting style. Because, she fought the villain in the Force Awakens, Kylo Ren. Now, Kylo Ren is, the new Darth Vader, and he's, really super powerful. He's a Skywalker, like Vader was. And it's incredible, he's also solo. So he has, Han's blood in him. He has, Vader's blood. He's like a super powerful dude, and he's evil, right? He was the wayward apprentice that took off and messed Luke's life up and made Luke leave. I mean, I already hate this guy. Anyway, so we're looking at this guy, and he's in charge, right, of the, I guess, the de facto First Order, or the, who are these guys? Anyway, we're trying to get a better understanding of who these guys are, as they, and what their motivations are. And it seems like he's looking for Luke, but if he was betrayed by Luke, like he says, and Luke tried to kill him, what, did he run, or did Luke run? What happened? Why were they? You don't know where you ran from? You can't go back to where you were? I don't. Anyway, it's kind of weird, because if he really wanted to find Luke, wasn't he there where Luke is now? Anyway, the end of the story ended with him getting his ass handed to him by the new girl, Rey. And Rey is like, I don't know, she's like a Luke mixed with a God or something. She can, like, do anything that she wants. I mean, we've seen her maneuver the Millennium Falcon better than, well, both Han and Chewie. We've seen her, like, handle a lightsaber for the first time and defeat someone who was trained by both Luke and, who's this Snoke character? Is he? Okay, there's a Snoke character, and he's, like, evil, and he's, like, training Kylo to, like, be evil, too. Well, I don't know. Doesn't make sense. Anyway, Kylo becomes evil, and he's trying to capture Rey because, well, this guy wants him to. What's his name? Snoke. He's Snoke. And Snoke wants, well, Kylo to, like, follow orders, and I think Snoke is going to be dead by the second movie. It's just a guess. Anyway, we're looking at this, like, the first movie, this Force Awakens, and trying to figure out, like, what was going on. You know, did Disney mean to do this? Or was it just a mistake? And, you know, sometimes mistakes happen, and, you know, you drop a mistake. So we're looking at this movie, and we're trying to understand, well, what's happening? I mean, who's Rey? I mean, she can pilot the Millennium Falcon, like, super awesome. We should just get her to do that. Just fly everything. She's so awesome. But wait, she can handle a lightsaber, too. And she has access to, like, the Force. And, like, wait a minute, is that a Jedi mind trick? She can do Jedi mind tricks even better than Jedis, because in this universe there's no Jedi except Luke, and he's hiding. Where's Luke? Anyway, we're looking at this movie, and we're trying to figure out what's going on, and it's really confusing. So basically we see Rey, right? And Rey, she gets her hands on the lightsaber that was actually given to Finn. I don't know why, because just earlier the lady, what's her name? The new Yoda told Finn he was a coward, and that all he does is run, and he ran when she told him that. And now he's back with Chewie? Wait, how Chewie? Anyway, she gives the lightsaber to Finn, and Finn goes out, and the whole canteen is, well, it's hard to explain, because it seems like Han showing up there wasn't a good idea, because they were actually tracked and followed. Didn't they say earlier that they were being tracked? Anyway, the whole mission is a complete scrub, as the whole place where they are is destroyed, and Finn gets to use the lightsaber. I really thought that he was lightsaber sensitive, or should I say Force sensitive, or should I say gonna be a black Jedi? But no, we already had a black Jedi, right? So it's not really necessary, I guess. Would have been nice though to see, like, a stormtrooper change from, like, being an evil stormtrooper into a super duper powerful, like, Jedi, and he could, like, help save the day, maybe even save Rey. But it turns out Rey was the one who's, like, Force sensitive and could handle, like, a lifesaver, because, like, when she touched one, she has, like, a mushroom-like dream or vision or trip. Anyway, but this movie ended, like, with her finding, like, Luke and walking up on him, like, and handing him the lightsaber, and Luke was like, who the fuck are you? Wait a minute, I think I know, but I don't know. I don't know what to think. Anyway, this movie was, like, really, really confusing as we went into the second movie, thinking that it was going to answer all the questions. It was going to make sense of the senseless. But it didn't. It just introduced, like, Rose Tico and made a further mess of already a mess. I mean, Luke was considered a coward. I mean, fuck Luke. I mean, he wasn't real. I mean, get his ass kicked by Rey. I mean, she shouldn't even have went to that place, because she treated him bad. I mean, Luke was drinking this milk from the titties of a beast. Why? Why did they do that? Is it to embarrass Luke? Why is Luke not nothing in this? Do they know who Luke Skywalker is, or is this even Star Wars or a parody? I mean, I'm looking at The Last Jedi and I'm just wondering, is this some type of, wow, insult? I mean, I just remember leaving the theater from watching The Last Jedi thinking, man, this might be the last Jedi movie I ever go watch. I felt like I was robbed. I felt like losing Luke. I felt like the movie didn't make sense. I felt like the story was ridiculous. I felt like just what was happening just couldn't, be real. I mean, why would you make Rey be so powerful and not really help? I mean, it doesn't really mean nothing just to have somebody this powerful, but why her? And why not nobody else? Nobody else is, like, force sensitive. Didn't the first movie tell us that, like, anybody could be force sensitive? And now you got this, like, scavenger. She's, like, super duper, like, powerful, and she could, like, run around and do, like, anything that she want on any earth. I mean, wasn't she swimming? Didn't they find her in the desert? I don't know. She can swim, though, and she can pilot. Wasn't she in the desert? Yeah, she can pilot any ship or vehicle. But wasn't she in the desert? I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Anyway, she's a character that I really can't make sense of. And then they introduced this Rose character who was even more confusing. I mean, she was the sister of a character who was killed on screen, like, after a few seconds. But anyway, she was very important because her sister's here now, and her sister's stopping Finn from running away. Is that all Finn does? Is he yells Rey, Rey, and he runs away? And they make us look bad. I thought this guy was going to be like a black Jedi, and instead he's like, well, I don't even know what he is, because it's not funny to hear him scream Rey over and over again. Even like in the movie, it's like Rey got tired of it, and then she like push him down with the Force, like, get the fuck out the way. I don't know, I'm just tripping. I don't know. I might be wrong. But looking at this and, asking myself, like, why Snoke? Because he's dead now. I mean, I figured he'd be dead, but they actually did it. They killed him. I mean, who is he? And I don't really understand his character and what was his motivation anyway, but he's gone now, so it doesn't matter. I mean, Han's gone. Snoke's gone. Luke's gone. Wait, Leia's gone? They killed Leia off when we knew Leia was dead already, but she had survived in the movie for a while. And now, I don't know, she gets a silhouette. But before she dies in the movie, she did reveal to us that she's more than force sensitive. She could actually fly through space using, I guess, the Force. And no space equipment or spacesuit or, OBA, for y'all that don't know, oxygen breathing apparatus. I mean, she can breathe in space. I don't know if she can live. Anyway, it turns out that Leia is force sensitive and probably the most powerful Jedi to ever exist in all of any galaxy, as she was able to be blown out of a, bridge and basically flew back to space. And when they opened the door to let her in, dude, they know that that actually would have sucked everybody out because there was no depressurization. Anyway, they don't understand how space works, whoever made these movies. And we're looking at some of the great, beautiful effects from The Last Jedi and Force Awakens and, well, just trilogy as a whole. And it's incredible, like, when, what's her name, Admiral Hodo? Oh my God, the Hodo maneuver. So fake and so stupid, but so visually stunning to watch. But I guess J.J. Abrams. It doesn't make sense. I mean, we're looking at Star Wars and we're trying to figure out what went wrong. I can't relate to the character Rey. I don't understand what's her motivations for even being here. She has no flaws. Nothing horrible ever happens to her. She's kind of Mary Sue-ish. And then we look at, well, Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren, the son of, well, Solo. Didn't he kill his father? I don't like him as a son of Solo. He killed Han. I mean, I watched Han survive all of these things from like the original trilogy, and he was like a super awesome, like, character who had no superpowers, but, his ability to handle that Millennium Falcon, and him and Chewie saved the day many times, and he put himself on the line. I mean, he was a hero that I could relate to because he didn't have no superpowers or no force powers or force sensitivities or whatever. I mean, Solo was cool, only to be killed by his super duper powerful son who has all type of force abilities. Interesting. But anyway, this is the direction that they decided to go as, Luke's dead and Leia's dead. And, well, Chewie's still alive. But I guess it forced him to witness the death of Han. I guess that sucked. And now, what, does he, work for Rey? How do Rey pay him? She can understand him, too. Did they ever explain how Rey could understand Chewie, but Finn can't? Or nobody else? I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong. It's just such a bad 3 movies. The Porgs are awful. I mean, who would invent that? And I guess to sell toys, I guess. But I wouldn't even buy a toy of a Porg. But I guess, I don't know. Everything is just bad. But anyway, with Snoke dead, at least the villain is dead. But it turns out the Snoke wasn't even a villain. Snoke was just a meat puppet of the actual villain who had created Snoke to be the villain, but wasn't the villain because he was actually the villain. But wait a minute. We're talking about Palpatine, right? Because Palpatine died. Did y'all not see that? He died. But he didn't. He's alive, and why? How did Palpatine, survive? Or why is he alive now? What does he want? Anyway, he wants Luke, I guess. The Last Jedi did, but Luke is dead already. He wants Rey, but why? Rey's a Palpatine. Oh, didn't they say? Remember, it was a video on YouTube, and they said that Rey could be a Palpatine because of the way she acted and the way she fought, and all the things that. Why was she even there? And they were like, "Oh no, Rey's not a Palpatine," and shot it down. Like, no, she's a Kenobi. No, she's a Skywalker. And I guess she's a Palpatine, but by the end of the 3rd movie, she was banging Skywalker. I mean, why do they need to know your last name when they meet you? Like, hello, what's your name? I'm Rey. Rey who? It's Skywalker. Are you sure? And she keeps BB-8. I didn't see Poe die. I mean, I don't. Did she inherit BB-8 from a living Poe? I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. It's really hard to realize that this movie was made, or these 3 movies were made, and they were called Star Wars because it seemed like they were parodies or a way to just bring Star Wars to an abrupt end, or to destroy Star Wars, or to make fans know that don't ever come to another Star Wars movie again. But I'm just playing, though, I mean, some people may have liked these. I mean, The Last Jedi had some moments, right? Maybe. The Force Awakens, the way she flew that Millennium Falcon just make you wonder, how? I mean, you walk away from each one of these movies, TDJ. It makes you wonder, is this, what they wanted us to see, or did they accidentally release this, and this is just the wrong version? I mean, wow. Palpatine said that if he died, or if Rey killed him, that he would just become Rey, and then it would be him and Rey, or him as Rey. Well, anyway, Rey kills Palpatine at the end of the movie. Start walking around calling herself a Skywalker, even though it's over, I hope, and that they will never make no more movies called Star Wars. But I heard the Kenobi series is coming out, unfortunately, along with the Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. Oh my God, please! They hope to destroy the entire franchise, and I guess this is a good way to do it. I mean, from Finn's famous line, Rey! From Rey's famous line, I'm a Skywalker, to BB-8 witnessing all of this and still confused. And even though he's an AI and he's a very smart robot, but he can't figure out what the hell is going on. All kind of confusing. But I guess what went wrong is that the characters were hard to relate to. The story was inexplicably bad. The treatment of historic, iconic characters was, well, disrespectful and complete, well, stupidity in writing the whole idea of The Force Awakens all the way to, well, just the final three movies were just the final three nails in the coffin of an iconic franchise that, you know, inspired generational youth to enjoy not just storytelling, but sci-fi, adventure, and heroic behavior, standing up against the tyranny of huge empires when you're just a small resistance and still winning. You know, to never give up in the face of the pressure of evil, no matter how dark it is. I mean, to leave it simple, I mean, Luke was a small kid who realized that he had to go up against a massive empire that was led by his father, and he did. And not only didn't go there to kill his father, he turned his father, and it was a beautiful story. And this story with Rey and Kylo Ren kissing and Kylo Ren dying at the end and force healing. I mean, Rey was the first person that was able to force heal, but then Kylo Ren, I don't know. Everything about this movie, I'm walking away with more questions. I don't understand anything that I just saw except for it was all bad and I didn't like it and I didn't think it was a true depiction of the story that was first began when we saw Star Wars for the first time. And these recent versions, the newer versions, are just, I guess, the best way to describe it is an insult. And I just hope that they're finished and that they leave Star Wars alone and don't make any more. I'm going to talk about each one of these characters and get into some of this stuff and try to figure out why we didn't like Rey as a character, why we didn't like Finn, why we didn't like Rose, why we didn't like Hodo. And each character they continued to introduce was just more and more disliked. So we'll just talk about that a little bit more in the future and try to figure out what was wrong with Star Wars. But until then, thank you for listening. Dark Skies News and Information, Star Wars movie review. And we got No Way Home coming up. We got more movie reviews coming up too, so tune in. Thanks for joining us. Number one podcast in the entire multiverse, Dark Skies News and Information. Yes. Jen, Jennifer, Jeff, Mike and Ike's, Becky, and me, yours truly, your host, L.C. Grace. We'll be back to talk more movies on this, the movie review. Dark Skies News and Information. And we're out. Thanks, iHeart.